It's a breezy, cool afternoon on the homestead. This is my bed of carrots and purple cabbage and red Russian kale. And I am focusing on this today, even though this is one of several patches that I have. I'm focusing on this today because, well, we've been getting away with not having bad weather for some time. In a few days, it's going to be December, but I check the weather on a regular basis, and in a couple of nights, it's dropping down to the teens. So, timing is perfect because I finally got this. I put off ordering it because I had other things to do, and this is my greenhouse material that I've been talking to you guys about in a few other videos, and it's important that I get this unwrapped, cut, and put over not just this garden, but the 3 or 4 other gardens that I have placed throughout this area on the property. Things are doing well, and I want to keep it that way. I mentioned in another video about different types of covering. This is what you'll see in a lot of a lot of contractors, a lot of painters use these to cover your furniture, to cover your carpets, and it looks similar to this, but believe me, it's not. If you put this on to cover your plants when it gets cold, in my opinion, you're throwing your money away. This is 0.7 mil. It's not going to cut it. This is actually made for greenhouses. It's way thicker. I don't know if you can see that, but it's thicker, and it's clear. Well, they say it's clear. It's not totally clear. It's like 90% clear. This is 6 mil. This is much thicker. You can get 2 mil, 4 mil, 6 mil. I almost always get 6. It's to me, this is the best way to buy it because some companies, they have it folded. And when you try to unfold it, it's difficult because you have the creases and it's just more difficult to deal with. This rolls out. So what I'm going to do is measure. I already know this is 6 feet by 8 feet. So this is a custom build. I knew because this is the way I wanted it. So I'm going to roll this out, and I'm going to roll it out to the ground, not to the top of the wood, but to the ground, where I can either staple it to the sides, or I can put some sort of weight around the edges to hold it down. Now, I'm probably going to put something in the center because when you get rain or snow, it'll just sink it down. You need something on the edges to hold it up. You want it to float because when the temperatures do drop, what's going to happen is this greenhouse material is going to push down on top of the plants, and you get what's called a burn, like freezer burn. The tips will touch the plastic, and some of that cold will penetrate through, and you will end up harming some of your plants. Now, a lot of people feel like they don't need this because everything I'm planting is basically hardy, which means that it can stand below 32 degrees. It can go down. This is what I've basically been using. This is just a basic cover, and you can see it's late November and everything is doing well. There's only going to be a handful of nights where I'm actually going to need to use this material. But people like to play fast and loose and figure, well, it's only going to be a night or 2 nights, or maybe I can get a harvest before the real cold comes in. That is risky business because it only takes one night for it to drop down to, say, 12 or 10 degrees, and you can lose it all. I don't play those games. I'd rather pay. This is, well, this cost me about 50 bucks, but it's based on the size. You don't have to buy this much. The reason why I have this much is because I have other things over here that I need to cover. They're saying this is good for 4 years, but I've had mine in some cases 5 years. So if you take good care of it, it will last you. Now, you don't have to buy 12 by 40. It comes in about 7 or 8 different sizes. This is probably in the middle. You can buy it a lot smaller. You can buy it a lot bigger. As I said, you can staple it. You can cut it to shape. There's a lot of ways you can use this. It's versatile, but the important thing is, even though 90% of the time your plants are probably going to be fine without it, it's that other 10% where you're going to need to cover these babies up in order to protect your investment. Now, another thing, it will get warm during the day. Most of you guys work, so you're not going to be here to put the cover on, take the cover off, and you don't really necessarily have to. There's a term called venting, where you just lift the plastic up on the edge about so much from the actual plants, and as it heats during the day, that hot air will vent out through wherever you have it open. So it's probably not going to get that much warmer. Like I said, we're approaching December, and even if the sun hits this, it may hit 60, 65. And if you vent it by opening that corner or two corners, then it's going to let that hot air out during the day, and you won't have any problems. So this is what I've been doing for years now. And there is one last thing, and that is this. I've shown this to you before. This I keep in the house right now. It's reading 45 degrees. This is the actual gizmo that I keep in here. You can set it anywhere. This is a cheap one. It's 10 bucks. It's not supposed to get wet, so we're not expecting any rain for the rest of the week. I put that in here, measure this plastic out, this greenhouse plastic. This is Sunview. There's a lot of different companies that make it. Doesn't matter to me which kind you get as long as you get it. This is one of the older ones that I still have left over from before, but because of me having to deal with this clay soil, I have about 6 different little mini gardens around here, so that is not nearly enough for what I need it for. So like I said, you measure this out, cut it, put this bad boy in here, and I water my gardens about twice a week. But basically, just cover it, keep it off the plants, and keep an eye on it. But it's not that much work that has to be done. Like I said, we've had maybe 4 or 5 nights where the weather has dropped below freezing, and that's been temporary. It goes down to the mid-20s, and then it bounces back up. So it's been no big deal. But I take heed to the warning signs and the change of season, and the fact that we are going into where the weather gets cold. Usually around January is when it really starts to drop at night. The coldest I think that it was last winter was -3 or -4, but that went on for 2 or 3 days. This would all have been toast if I didn't have it covered. Well, I wasn't here at this property, but wherever you are and it drops down that low, you need to have it covered. That's basically it. Glad you guys stopped by. I have several of these, some smaller, one larger. So I'll be taking you guys through my process and what I do all winter long. Thanks for subscribing. My numbers have gone up. I appreciate it. Please repost this video. and hit the notification bell at the top of the screen, and post your comments and questions below. So this is the Frugal Gardener. Remember what I always say to you: when you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. Catch you guys in a couple days with a new video. I got some good stuff coming up. I'll see you then. Enjoy your day.